Hello again. I have made some changes in what I thought I was doing tonight because in tracking down the artworks that I did this year, I'm a little confused because I can't remember what order I did it in. Like, I found the paintings that I did, but there seemed to be 8 of them. And I'm not sure how, because I did one for each of... I did one for each day of the week, and it was just a week of art the first time I did it. Then the pixel art, I think, was the next one we did for artworks. I'm wondering if I'm forgetting a week. Like, this was the first in a series of things I tried. So if the dot artwork, if this dot artwork was done, it's gonna go really crazy and flip the camera out, but if that was done on one of the weeks, was that something I did during the pixel art stuff? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Like, this doesn't show up particularly great anymore, does it? So this one and this one. This one was one I started on the night I lost power. And so I did this one the next day and finished this one as 2 parts of 2 live episodes. But I don't know if this was the same week. So I remember that week being, I'm pretty sure that week was trying out different modes of painting. So I can't remember anymore. That's so weird. That was the start of February. So I did chalk pastels, then charcoal. No. Chalk pastel. Did I do charcoal first? And then I did oil pastels with Scratch Away. Those 3, I'm pretty sure, were all part of the same one as the abstract oil painting, which was the first 2 I showed. And I'm pretty sure my watercolor was also part of that process. My monochrome watercolor. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I do just 6 of them? And if so, was this a different week? I can't even remember anymore. I'll have to go back and look at my schedule and see which ones I did when. Because I can't remember which days I did or which months I did. Because this is 1. This is 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. So the big question then becomes, 8? I can't remember. I'll have to see if I can go back through the live videos and see if I can track down where I did what, because that's weird. And then the pixel art was there an abortive week where I just gave up on doing art? I thought the pixel art was it because the computer kept crashing every time I tried to show the page on the graph paper. So I did January, February, skipped March. So January, February were writing through video game. March was skipped. April, May would have been audio. June, July would have been June, July would have been, it would have been in July. Except for maybe I swapped things around. No. It would have been in July, and I didn't get anything done in July. So August would have been the follow-up. And then I feel like that would have been an art week. Was that when I did the pixel art? Then September, October. Wow, no. August and September were a pair. That would have been audio. I don't even remember where any of this came from anymore. That's weird. I'm going to have to go look through my live creations daily and see what I can figure out. Anyway, this may have been the same week as the pixel art. Was there something else I did during that time too? I guess this week is just going to be me tracking down the information on what I did for these projects, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that was something I had a little bit of fun and some ideas about where to take it a little bit further. I can remember the project and how I want to do like mosaics with this style and use some shapes other than circles. This style is inspired by a webcomic I did when I was younger. So like I'm familiar with this one enough to know what I want to try. Oh, it is. I do remember because it's right over there. The Stain Shady is what I called it. There was another forgotten art week that I'm totally spacing on. There were 3 of them. Did I switch to pixel art in the middle? Hang on. I'm going to go grab the Stain Shady piece because it's right over on the other side of the camera. It's taking the same idea as this and doing it with wood stain. So I did do. Huh. That was when it didn't work right, and that side is where I got it to work better, but I wanted to make some changes. And the reason I remember that now is because you can see in some of them, you've got a really dark outline here, but not. So you have this outline, but here is a line that just blends. And I like this this approach better than this one. This has a more cartoony feel, and this has a more artsy feel. So I want to work on doing this style for some other things in the future. I'm gonna, and using techniques like these, but with stain. So, and I think being able to use them in other art forms in comparison to, I can do some very simple chalk or charcoal, like chalk on white or charcoal on white, chalk on blackboard approach, and then take photographs of the works that I make that way and make bookmarks and stuff like that out of those. Whereas something like this is going to be something I can do to simple woodworking stuff. Like all of this is stain added. It would look like this without it. But even the clouds up here, oh, trying to not get too close to the light, but even the clouds you can kind of see here, that's stained. That's experimenting with stain. So I want to be able to make a few simple things like this from time to time on other pieces of artwork. I might even do some simple woodworking projects and like cases for things I want to keep, and then do this on the outside of them. Scrap wood. I have a couple designs of some old pieces of furniture, like simple structures of furniture that I could do this stain shady technique with. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like, so, goodness, my brain just is surprised by what I've forgotten here. This and this were part of the same week. I feel like there's a third thing that I'm forgetting. There is something more. I'll have to go look through the archives and see what I forgot. But that, once I started uncovering oh yeah, I found these pieces, and then trying to figure out where they all fit, I just figured that made more sense to cover tonight. But I do want to experiment a little bit more with chalk pastels to make finished artworks. I like this effect of glowing that I can achieve with it. So I want to play with that a little bit more. And again, it's probably going to be simple for sale artworks, maybe bookmarks and that kind of stuff. But this design was just a dabble. This is based off of some types of mazes that I used to make when I was younger. But the other thing about this is this was done in a layer of colors, then covered in black, and the black was scraped away. I want to do more like this and have it so that I can take the images, take pictures of the finished images, and turn them into cards or t-shirts or mug designs. Because this would, maybe not this particular one, but this technique, I could do mazes like this again, but I can also do just geometric shapes that you cut out in the shape of any number of things with little black lines through them, connecting them, almost like shattered pieces of glass, but making a mosaic image with an image underneath the individual pieces. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's sort of like on here I have just a sort of a rainbow background and then a black over that and scratched lines out. But instead of scratching lines out and instead of a rainbow in the back, I would do, say, a couple kissing in the sunset as a painting. And then I would do a blackout of the whole thing and then little triangles and maybe even a smaller heart between them scratched out so that it looks like little facets of a gem are black lines through, and then a black outline in the shape of a heart where the image of the couple kissing with the, yeah, that's sort of like I could do a bunch of different things that way. and having them as cups or cards or t-shirts, I could do that relatively easily. I think if I were to do more of this just as abstract artwork, I could do more mazes like this, and it's something I may look into doing. I did a bunch of stuff like that when I was younger, where I made a bunch of really huge complex mazes. I feel like if I were to do something like this maze structure, I have a couple different ways of doing this. This is vine work. I have one that's more like an Art Deco style, and I think I would be more inclined nowadays to do sort of like a metallic background or a couple different types of metallic colors mixing together to make an image, and then go over top of it and then scratch through with an Art Deco style maze that would end up making that mixed match color scheme of the different metals and the Art Deco pattern work in a way that's uniquely different. So that's something I want to pursue maybe a little bit further with that one. This one actually uses the tree designs that I used when I used to make like the charcoal. You can see they're sort of like rough cousins. The charcoal's a little more blurry than the graphite that I usually use, but they're cousins stylistically. I suppose I could make some of these trees and things and sell them as artwork. I'm just not as big into it. The thing that surprised me, I'll briefly cover the fact that I did the oil paintings. That was more learning how to use oil paint, and I just don't think I have the technique for it right now. But the thing that I really did like was doing the monochrome watercolor. And I think I could do a lot more with this kind of technique. I want to play with that a lot more. But I think the thing with the charcoal style, I might do like the charcoal style paintings as paintings, but I definitely think I could do a bunch more of the monochrome watercolors. There was something an idea I had a while back of doing using some of the ferric acetate I made with a science experiment, and how you can use that as an ink and change its color quality by mixing it with tannins. But there's also something I found a while back where certain people were making sort of watercolor paintings using coffee. And I wanted to try it with tea and lamp black. And in this case, it would be very steampunk-like paintings done in monochrome, or in this case, duochrome. Instead of doing like that one's all blue, just different levels of blue, like different concentrations of blue. If I took something like tea, I should be able to get beige all the way into dark browns. And if I used lamp black, I could use it as like an ink to outline and do edges on. So I could use it like for dip pens. And so I can get black, brown, white, and different shades of brown, maybe even do grays with the black if I do it right. And so just using that palette, see what kind of works I can create. And do them steampunk, because what you're dealing with essentially there is soot and tea, and that I feel is just quintessential raw materials for steampunk stuff. So that was really where I was going with I found those pieces today. I'm gonna see if there's a missing piece somewhere. Like, clearly I did more this year than I thought I did. Because I did pixel art that first week of a different painting style each day, and then 2 more on another week. I think that was a week I cut short. I did 2 or 3 things because everything just fell apart and I couldn't get the camera or YouTube to work for me. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look anyway. So that's 3 different art weeks. And I recall doing, did I really do 3 different weeks of audio content stuff too? Like, how did I do 6 weeks of content when I took time off for California, Hawaii, and October, November? Like, I must have done way more this year than I thought I did. So that was the other artwork thing I was going to cover today. Some things to delve back into. I'm not done trying oil painting. I just don't think that I have a technique enough down to really claim that I've done anything useful with it yet. Now, the other video content, sort of continuing from where I was yesterday, was to discuss the camera, our cheap camera, simple camera video. See if I can actually get, so I've got my phone here with its tiny little camera on it that is low quality, but it's going to be just a mess to show the video on here, but let's see, what do we got? Okay, let's give this a go here. Yeah, it's a site in California. It's lights. That was a poor choice. The camera doesn't want to play with that. All right, let's try. Maybe it would handle blue all right. Let's have a see if we can get a video playing. No. Nope. Okay. I was going to try to show you the flight. Jeez, that's loud. I was going to try to show you the flight back from California. Is there any video I have on here that would play? Probably not. It's too bright for the camera. But this does record audio or video, and it does decent job of recording video enough that I would think I could, it would probably be like a 420 or something like that. A 420, is it 480? 480p? 420 is something else, I think. I should be able to get a low quality, maybe even standard def from it, but not enough. Like in this, which should be a 1080p, it would probably be just enough to fill this top corner, which is sort of the point. With a camera like this, instead of setting it in landscape, I could set it in landscape theoretically, but if I set it up vertical, I say up here in this corner here, see if I can line it up right. So just taking up that top corner there and vertical video mode, I could use it as sort of like a talking head, and then down in this video, I could do, or down here, I could have still images of the project or thing I'm talking about. And then using editing software where I just have this as a still image and this as a, come on, I can line this up. I can do this. Come on, work with me. So have a window up here with me talking on it. And then down here, have the project that I'm working on in a still image that I can then circle things on in editing software, or otherwise put symbols or representative items down here. That's one of the ways that you can use a simple camera like this. I also wanted to look at not even video from something like this, but like the still images I have on here. You could do a series of snapshots of you going like, or, and so you could then have a still backdrop done, especially if you put your still images of you making expressions on a green screen. You can then have everything in the background wiped out and then put your cutout figure in the middle of the screen and then have it laid over a background that may move, may have things that float around. And you can do things like, today I want to ask you about whether or not it's possible to such and such. And I don't know. And so like you have the different expressions of like exploring a topic, shooting a video, giving you visual cues that are done with a still camera, not a video camera. And so you have the ability to just use still images on a crappy camera that wouldn't otherwise fill the whole screen, but you're piecing together a larger image out of smaller images that allow you to tell a story in 1080p with a camera that doesn't shoot 1080p. And so like that would be something about, you could do some of those sort of like quiz type shows like that. You could also do some informative documentary shows or discussion of historical topics. And there are a few different ways to use that technique just for still images that way. And shooting a series of videos about that, as well as doing the video up here. Golly, this is hard to navigate my hand around this screen like this. So video up here, and then still images, or even other video down here. There's a YouTuber I've seen out there that does, well, I guess she's more than a YouTuber. She does reviews of trailers and movies, and it's always her small webcam up here with her face reacting. Down here on this part of the screen, I guess, sort of like almost meeting where her webcam is the video she's reacting to. And up here are like bullet points about it, or things of interest about the topic on filling up that space. So you don't need a high-end camera to fill the space. And this part, and this part are all from non-camera sources. You download the video that you're reacting to, embed that in a window, in a picture-in-picture. You've got still images with bullet points that you flip through like a slideshow up here and down here. And the only camera needed is a rinky-dink little webcam up here on the right in the top corner. And she starts her videos oftentimes with her face in the corner and a backdrop, sort of like a very artsy poster for her channel that she then stacks things on top of like it's a desktop for you to observe. And that's totally doable. You could do something similar for instructional videos on simple crafts. So you could have your face up here and have the window down here be the desktop as you're working on it at different stages, either in still images like the assembly instructions for Legos, or as video. And then over on top of here, it's going to list maybe the steps of the process that you're working on, and down here would be the ingredients list of the things that you need. And you can do that for a lot of different types of things, and that's a totally workable scenario. And I wanted to shoot a series of videos showing all these different methodologies for making videos with limited supply and access. You know, the videos that you can produce without a camera at all means that people who are just getting started and don't have a camera could start making videos. Now, these would be a little bit more of like, if you had rudimentary or simple cameras or capabilities, like the webcam in most laptops is not really a 1080p laptop camera. You could use that camera and still get pretty good results and get pretty far with different types of video that way. And then we can start talking about how you can take it things further with a 1080p camera and an external mic and what you can do with those. Things I haven't even started to tap because I don't know that that's where I'm headed with what I'm trying to do with my videos. But being able to show that kind of technique and capability off, I think it would be worthwhile to try to do that. That's sort of where I was trying to go with that series of videos of how to make videos without a camera like that. Okay, don't fight me, guys. Come on. Let it go. There we go. Oh, you're just going to catch on something else now. Cool. Awesome. Anyway, so I thought I wanted to share and talk about those things today, especially since I actually found all the pieces. I feel like I might still be missing something, but we will find out. I'll see if I can uncover what are the missing things. Like that and this were from a week where I feel like I did 3 things and then called it quits. But that's 2 things. What was the third thing? Was it the pixel art? Was that the same week? Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Anyway, I think that's about a half hour now. And I think I need to go eat a meal. But yeah, I'm sorry I talked like I was going to talk about the sound effects today, and I found this and it seemed like I should talk about it while I tried to puzzle out how I did more this year than I thought I did. There was one point where I was going to make mosaic artwork. And I was going to color different eggshell pieces. I think that fell apart because I couldn't get the camera to work for me for doing visuals. I'll have to look into that a little bit further. All right, so I'll see what I can find about the missing artwork, if there's any that's somewhere in that mess. But in the meantime, I'm going to do some more Black Mirror episodes tonight, I think. And then I got a couple more tomorrow, maybe even 3 more tomorrow. And then the last thing I believe is the interactive Bandersnatch that Black Mirror did. And just see how they handled theirs. I'm right now, I'm in the midst of being a little grumpy at Carnival Row, because I just watched another couple episodes before this, and they have werewolves, just like Faithtown Noir had werewolves, and it makes me angry that you have a sort of noir private investigator with a connection to the Fae who have come back over to the world and had a war at a certain point, and it's sort of like the post-war era. They're using something in sort of Victorian England, and I'm using something in a little bit more of the classic private eye noir setting. But when you have Fae, you have a neighborhood where you call it like Little Chinatown, but instead of Chinatown, it's a Fae town. That's Carnival Row. And when you have all the different Fae creatures living in that community and sort of not really being welcome in the world, that's Carnival Row. And I'm angry a little. I'm not really angry, but I'm a little upset that that somebody else hit that idea well enough that it's on national network televisions, because mine didn't get noticed before now. And now if I ever produce anything of that idea that gets noticed, it's going to be seen as ripping off Carnival Row. And it's not, because it's 5 years old at this point. The idea for Faytown Noir is at least 5 years old now. And some TV series that started 6 months ago is going to be seen as the thing I'm ripping off to do it. It bugs me that I'm going to have to deal with that at some point. But it is what it is. But now I'm getting to the point where, like, do I bother trying to get that series back up and running for a little while, or do I give it a few years before I bring it back up? I think I'm just going to focus on talking about the audio games that I was playing with, the Space Cadet and those types of things for right now. I had some other choose your own adventure style videos that I wanted to work on, and the audio games are worth it too. So I think I'll focus on those, and maybe I'll come back to Faytown Noir. It just sucks that it's been sort of gutted like that. It's some of its gusto has been stolen by something else doing the same thing. And it's not that like other people couldn't do stuff like that. It happens all the time. It's, you know, I would totally support the creator of Carnival Row. It just sucks that they don't need my support. They're massively successful enough to have sold the series to Amazon. And now everybody else who does that same thing is going to seem as a rip-off artist. And that's my only grievance with that. I have no problem with 3 or 4 other people together or even separately coming up with ideas that are parallel and sharing them at the same time and getting moderate amounts of success from it. But when somebody breaks ahead of everybody else, they become the identifier of it. They become the brand name that everybody else knows it by. It is what it is. But I don't know anybody who's doing audio games, and I don't know anybody who's doing other choose your own adventure stuff. So I may focus on that first. And I'll talk about some of those later this week. I still got to figure out what I'm doing for tomorrow. So let's leave it in the air, because I said I was going to do audio today, and I didn't. I don't want to say I'm going to do it tomorrow and then not do it again, because that would just be a jerk move. But we'll be covering it. We have to cover it at some point, because it can't just be art and video. Audio was half of the art and audio category. So I'll cover some of that at least in the next few days. I think that's everything for tonight. We're almost at 40 minutes. I'm running a little long, I think. I still got a few things to do before I go to bed tonight. So I will catch you later. Take care and have a good night. Good night. Sleep tight. Alrighty. Catch you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. God. Why is my computer behaving the way it's behaving tonight? You can do that. It's because it rebooted.